Traditionally, if you are watching daytime TV and you're seeing ads for life insurance, it's probably showing a lot of older people who maybe you can't relate to personally.
Help! I've fallen and I can't get up.
I think there's going to be a bit of a shift from thinking about insurance as something for people who have debt and have kids, whereas it can actually be something for everyone. So, we talk a lot about financial independence. I know that's kind of a trendy topic at the moment for good reason. And I think kind of changing that view to see insurance not just as a bill that you have to pay, but actually a stepping stone for financial independence. I think that was quite a good shift that everyone seemed to agree was the way forward.
Hi, I'm Trent from Skye. Today I'm here speaking to Azaria. How are you, Azaria?
I'm very good, thank you, Trent. How are you?
Very well, thank you. Today we're going to be speaking about an event you recently went to, CALI Wild for Life. What the heck is that and what does that mean?
Yes, so first of all, CALI stands for the Council of Australian Life Insurers. So they're basically an industry body that represents all the major life insurers across Australia. So the kind of board consists of the CEOs of these companies, and they're a leading voice for life insurance in Australia. Got a few kind of things that they're aiming to do. They were only established a couple of years ago. Really, they're kind of advocating for the importance of life insurance for Australians. As we know, a lot of people are underinsured or not insured at all. So that's kind of where CALI's wanting to make a bit of a difference there. Really, they want to look to increase the trust, relevance and accessibility of life insurance for Australians. And they also do a lot of independent research as well, which is quite handy. So as opposed to an individual insurer maybe needing to go out and do their research, they're now kind of more united and able to get a better sense of how Australians think and feel about insurance and maybe what needs to change to get more of them on board. So that's CALI. And in terms of Wild for Life, this is their first conference that they've put on. It's going to be a yearly thing. And this year they had it at Taronga Zoo in Sydney. So they asked me to come along and jump on one of the panels and have a chat about insurance for young people.
Awesome. So what was the major parts of the event? What was the purpose of the actual event that was held at Taronga Zoo?
Yes, so really it was just to kind of bring everyone together, all the major stakeholders within the life insurance industry, to talk about some of the most pressing issues facing this industry at the moment. So probably the kind of main things that were discussed on the day were accessibility, kind of digital expectations of Australians, maybe where insurers need to modernise. There was also a lot of talk about women's issues specifically and claims experiences. How can we make claims better for people? And probably the biggest theme, which I was actually really proud to see, was mental health. There was a lot of talk about mental health on that day.
Awesome. Yeah, I think there's probably a few things that are going to come through from that, which would be great to see. So obviously at the zoo, who's who at the zoo when we were at the event? So you said that a lot of the board members and high directors were there. We consider you a bit of a big dog at Skye. Who else was there to hang out with?
Yeah, there was a lot of really interesting people there. It was unlike anything I've been to in the sense that obviously we work in life insurance at Skye, so we're insurance advisors, and getting to be around all the people that make those decisions was really special. We heard from people working at APRA. We had the assistant treasurer there, obviously the executives of the life insurance companies. We even had a doctor, which was actually really interesting, hearing a doctor's perspective, helping her patients with claims and hearing that side of things. So that was quite interesting, something we don't get to see very often. There were also some claims managers and then, a lot of policy and advocacy experts as well.
Awesome. So there's a few panels ran over the day. What panel were you on? What was the main topics that you spoke about?
So my panel was about how to talk to young people about life insurance. Typically, when you think about life cover, probably for the average person, you're thinking about maybe people in their 40s, 50s, people with kids who have bought a house, and they really wanted to hone in on Gen Z specifically. So it was a really interesting chat. There are a few things we talked about. Some of the things that I brought up were probably just making insurance more accessible to young people. I kind of made the point that, as we know, Trent, working at Skye, so many of our clients are Gen Z and they do want this insurance. It's probably just a matter of two things. So number one, awareness that they need it. So I talked quite a lot about financial podcasts. At one point, the MC asked the room, so who's heard of She's on the Money? There were 3 hands raised. So maybe not a huge amount of awareness out there in insurance land about where young people are learning about these things. So we talked a bit about, podcasts, influencers, and how I actually see that as a really good thing and not something for, regulators to be scared of. So we talked a bit about the awareness, and then we talked about just the accessibility of insurance. So had a chat about what we do at Skye and why I think maybe we have quite a big demographic of younger clients. So things like being more technology focused, making things really easy for our clients to fill out forms, not needing to use a printer. I don't know about you, Trent. I definitely don't own a printer. So I made sure to...
time, and I barely own a pen or paper as well.
Exactly. Yeah, 100%. So I made that point to the insurers. I said, stop telling us to print things off. And just, having online portals. I know for myself, growing up, I've always had online banking, and I think a lot of our clients expect that of their insurance companies as well, to have some kind of portal that they can log into. So we talked a bit about the digital stuff, talked about cost. So obviously at Skye we have probably lower fees than most advice businesses, and that makes things a bit more accessible for young people, especially as they're just building up their wealth. And then just the cost of insurance as well. I talked about how, many people coming to us expect to be paying thousands of dollars a month for their insurance, and then a surprise when we tell them they can pay most of their premium through their super. So maybe a bit more awareness of that might attract more people to get insurance. It's not like health insurance where you have to pay for it all out of pocket, thankfully. And then we talked about mental health as well. That was one question that they were asking a lot when it comes to young people. What's our experience working with young people who've had mental health issues in the past, or maybe even just sought treatment or coaching just for general maintenance of mental health. And I talked about the fact that, mental health exclusions are a really big thing for our clients and really common, and how it's probably more just about the education and maybe what can insurers do to help these people. Yes, they're going to potentially be excluded for mental health. So what else can insurers do to show that they can offer support in other ways?
Yeah, it's probably a key point in the differentiation between what the market was 20, 30 years ago, our parents, and when they got insurances, and what was the general norm. Everything was done in person with a firm handshake and a piece of paper, compared to where people are able to access things online, whether that's through podcasts, TikTok even, Instagram, and being able to access that. And then the acceptance of mental health, being able to understand that it's okay to be not okay, being able to go out of your way to help yourself become better. It's not a taboo thing anymore. Seeing that the insurers are starting to listen to that part is really good. And I think it's going to take them a little bit longer to come around to getting their information from someone that's not in person, especially those podcasters that are really intelligent, often have been advisors previously and just pivoted into a different role.
Yeah, 100%. And on the mental health thing as well, it was really interesting. The other person on the panel was Darren Leonard, 20 plus years experience underwriting specialist for Ascender, one of their big insurance companies. So he had a lot to bring to that discussion as well from an underwriting perspective on mental health, and kind of hearing from his experience how things have changed over the years. As you say, this wasn't so much a consideration 20 years ago, but nowadays we're seeing a lot more claims for income protection and total and permanent disability with mental health. So having a chat about how that's changing and what kind of insurers can offer to those people. So for example, Ascender, they have a program where any of their clients can access certain medical services. So whether that's dietitians, just general doctor services, or mental health support. So, for a client who has a mental health exclusion, yes, they wouldn't be able to make a claim, but they can maybe access some counselling services through that insurer. So it was interesting to hear what the different insurance companies are doing beyond just providing policies. What else can they provide their policyholders?
Yeah, it's something we've been working on, hasn't it, with understanding what those insurance companies are offering, apart from taking premiums and paying claims when they arise. It's making sure that clients are aware of these programs, because they could be really effective. You're taking out an insurance policy, but you're getting all these other things on top of it, and making sure people are accessing it, often free of charge as well.
Exactly, yeah.
In terms of you and what you took away from the event personally, what were the key takeaways for you?
Yeah, there were a few really interesting things. Probably the first thing that was a pleasant surprise was how much of an emphasis there was on women's specific issues when it comes to insurance. So there was a whole panel just about, what are the issues facing women? And there are a number of women on there sharing their opinion, including Trish Gregory, one of our fellow advisors out there in the community. Shout out to Trish. She made some really interesting points on that panel. One thing I really liked was that there was a big emphasis on the impacts of menopause for working women, and how that can actually, that can lead to some difficulty in working your normal hours, your normal days, and what insurers are kind of doing there and what kind of support they're offering to women in that demographic. So that was actually quite encouraging to see. Secondly, obviously, I was surprised how much of the conference was focused on mental health. So that was really good to see that they're talking about what more they can do and how they can better support their policyholders. And then the third thing I really liked was that, traditionally, if you are watching daytime TV and you're seeing ads for life insurance, it's probably showing a lot of older people who maybe you can't relate to personally. I think there's going to be a bit of a shift from thinking about insurance as something for people who have debt and have kids, whereas it can actually be something for everyone. So, we talk a lot about financial independence. I know that's kind of a trendy topic at the moment for good reason. And I think kind of changing that view to see insurance not just as a bill that you have to pay, but actually a stepping stone for financial independence, I think that was quite a good shift that everyone seemed to agree was the way forward.
Yeah, it's certainly a shift away from, getting married, having a family, and the wife stops working and a male continues to work for the next 40 odd years. And the way life probably was 20, 30 years ago, now the insurers are realising that women are working through their careers, they're taking shorter breaks for children potentially and moving back into their careers, or the male partner or the female partner is staying home and looking after children as well. And having that demographic shown rather than the standard one that was 20, 30 years ago. Yeah,
100%. And even just those typical milestones that could be a trigger to get insurance, maybe they're still happening, but they're not happening till a lot later in life. They might have been happening in your mid-early 20s, back in the day. Now it might be your mid-late 30s. So just, still considering that demographic and not leaving them behind.
Awesome. So all these events are happening and lots of things going on, but what does it actually mean for policyholders, people taking out insurance? What do you think's on the horizon for them?
So I would say, first of all, again, on the mental health thing, seeing that insurers are really listening there. So they've done some research. They had some research from KPMG that they've done now in the general public about mental health and the impacts people are having, perceptions when it comes to insurance. So it is really heartening to see that insurers are thinking about that. It's not just something that they're excluding and then forgetting about. So I think people can probably take a bit of hope in that to see that that's changing. Second thing, I think that young people, as we're just discussing, Trent, do have a lot of power to influence this industry if they kind of speak up about their experiences, speak to other people who maybe don't have insurance, and just start those conversations. I think that insurers want to hear from us and they want to be able to cater more to our demographic. They just need to know what it is that we want. So having the opportunity to speak at that event was really good. And then the third thing is that, probably insurers are just trying to make insurance more accessible for everyone, not just for people who have a lot of money, people who are at certain life stages, people who can afford advice. It looks like over the next few years, it's going to be a lot easier than it is currently to take out an insurance policy, which is great news because we know it's not a fast, easy process right now.
It's certainly not. There's lots of I's to dot and T's to tick, and away we go. So it's not the easiest thing to get done, but we are pushing to make it easier for us, the clients and the insurers as a whole, to get up to speed with using the digital world.
Yeah. And actually, a question for you, Trent. What do you think Skye's doing to change that current difficulty often of getting insurance? What kind of push are we putting back onto the insurers?
Yeah, so we've started calculating how long it's taking certain insurers to do certain things in their business with us. We do have a larger number of clients than most insurance advisory business, or just businesses in general that are advising on insurances. So being able to send that back and say, hey, you're really good in this area, but maybe you're not as good in this area. Let's figure out exactly why that's the case, because if they're winning in those areas, our clients are winning and we're winning. If they're not winning, our clients are winning, we're not winning. It's taking everyone forever and there's a break in the chain. But maybe some insurers are doing something really well at the front end, but they're not as good at the back end. So figuring out and helping them, feed that information back, because often they don't know what they don't know. So us working with multiple different insurers, seeing multiple different processes, we can help them, improve them as a whole.
Yeah, I actually had a couple of people come up to me at the event and say, who worked with insurance companies, and said, oh, I love that report that you guys send out every year. So basically what we do is we survey our staff, us included, on our experience on different things with different insurance companies. And then unsolicited, we send that feedback to the insurance companies, whether they like it or not. We tell them exactly what they think, and they really appreciate it because, again, insurers are willing to listen. They do want to get better and make things easier for their policyholders and for the people who are, providing these insurance policies to people. They just need to hear those voices.
Yeah, for sure. So is there anything big coming? So these big events are happening. They promise big things. What do you think is on the horizon at the moment?
I reckon in the immediate future, maybe seeing a bit more modernisation of the insurance process. So a bit more focus on digital tools, hopefully less focus on old school, printed forms and all of that kind of thing. Again, more support around mental health I'm probably expecting, and just, ease of access for insurance policies. Probably the three main things, given what I saw at the conference. I think it's probably the biggest focuses for insurance companies at the moment.
Awesome. And the most important question of the day. So obviously there's the Taronga Zoo. You've done a tour of the zoo. What was your favourite animal?
Oh, that is such a hard question. It was such a fun little tour. I didn't realise how incredible Taronga Zoo's views were. Saw a lot of animals. I'd say my favourite would have to be the Bolivian squirrel monkey. Didn't know they existed until that day, but they were so cute. If anyone's watching this, Google a photo of a Bolivian squirrel monkey. They're just adorable. And they were just picking things up with their little hands and looking at them, and they were super cute.
One didn't make it into your backpack on the way home?
No, unfortunately not. No. They're very social animals. I think they prefer to be with other little monkeys.
And your least favourite?
Least favourite trend has to be the dingo. Obviously, being called Azaria, that's an animal I have to avoid.
It's a very topical subject, that one. We'll steer clear of it. So, stay in the city, stay away from the outback, and you'll be fine, I think.
Perfect.
Thanks for joining me today, Azaria, and sharing your experience from CALI. Looking forward to what comes next from those guys, and continue to improve our industry.
Sounds good. Thanks, Trent.
No worries. Bye-bye.